So now I've got my indicator, so I get my glass, I get my red cabbage which has been boiled for about 10 or 15 minutes and strain it into the glass. And you get a very pretty result, like this. Right, here it is. Okay. Now, that's actually purple, although it may not be obvious. I have a number of acids on this table. I've got citric acid in lime juice. I have vinegar, 6% acetic acid, which I'm going to put in here. And I also have sodium hydroxide, and I have sodium citrate with an unknown concentration because I didn't measure them. So that's going to be the interesting one. And I've got piled sodium hydroxide as well. So there's my, for a start, my spirit vinegar. Malt vinegar is not so reliable. So I'm going to take my indicator, pour it in there and see what happens. And the answer is that you get reddish stuff, like that. Now, next stage, lime juice, which is a little bit more acidic. Now, I'm not measuring these. I should measure them, but I'm not. And again, you get a red result. Now, here comes the interesting one. This is sodium citrate. I have no idea how much of each is in there, so when I pour it in, it's going to go a colour, but I don't know what colour. And the answer is that it goes blue. Finally, and there are some problems with this because obviously this is already hot, and I'm going to make it hotter, I'm going to put the sodium hydroxide into this. You should always add the alkali or the acid to the water and not the other way around. So I'm just going to put one flake in and see what happens. Not a lot, so I'll put some more in. Right, I've got some sort of reaction going on there, because I can hear it, and you might see that it's going blue. Now, if I then dump that in there, there will be quite a reaction, so I want to avoid that. And in fact, I'm going to take that out now because I'm worried that it's now getting too hot. Acids have a sour taste. Combine an acid with a metal oxide, it forms a salt. And safety tip with both of them, remember, always add the acid to the water or the base to the water and not the other way around, because if you do it the other way around it gets too hot and it will spit and do nasty things, which is one of the reasons why I got nervous and threw that out there. By the way, that, you may see, has gone greenish now. So the reaction there, obviously that indicates that it's an alkali, and that's the sort of colour that you want to look for. Red one indicates acid, green one alkali. Bases, which you shouldn't touch with your hands if they're strong, confer a soapy feel because they form soap with the oil on your skin. So that's a difference. Bases are also bitter, but you shouldn't taste them. Some acids are also bitter, but that's not something I'm going to talk about now. So I think that probably covers most of what's on the GCSE syllabus about acids and bases and salts and neutralising, which is what you call mixing an acid and a base so that it becomes a salt. I'm going to have words with you about the whole GCSE thing, because I really am finding it really limiting, boring and inaccurate, and something's got to be done about it because it's just rubbish basically. You know, we've got to do something about that. It's not enough. It's enough to get your qualification, but you know, it doesn't actually tell you anything that you need to know or is actually very accurate and describes reality very closely. So there you go, really. Sorry about that. It would look a lot more spectacular if you did it yourself, so I suggest that you do it yourself. Alkali that you can use would include sodium bicarbonate, chalk, caustic soda, but be very careful with that because it is dangerous. And did you notice I was wearing gloves, by the way? And acids you can use would include the oxalic acid you can get from rhubarb leaves, which is of course dangerous, acetic acid, and in fact even vomit, because vomit is a very powerful acid. It's hydrochloric acid, so there you go. But also you could use lime juice, vinegar. That's white, spirit vinegar, not malt vinegar, because the colour is wrong. And you can combine those two, and you can also test things. I can put chalk in an acid and it will produce fizz because the carbon dioxide will come out, and that'll be a test for that. Okay? Right, I'll see you next week. Actually, I'll see you before that, because I'm going to have to say something about this whole GCSE thing, because I'm just finding it really, really trying.